Okay, yes, and I am live, as Joe Rogan would say. I'm in Buenos Aires, got here yesterday. I'm a couple of weeks behind on the blog, as usual, but I've got two really clear blocks to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the first one today, which is the 5 days that I just spent in Bariloche. Bariloche is a really cool town slash city, sort of close to the Chilean border in the Andes, the northern part of Patagonia. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful place. Home of some amazing sort of lakes and rivers and mountains, and in winter the largest ski slash snowboard mountain in South America. I had my head shaved yesterday, like by a guy who actually used like a proper like cutthroat razor. So even though it probably looks similar to normal, it's a new feeling for me. So that's a quick disclaimer if I keep touching my head. But yeah, now that's out of the way. Bariloche, what a brilliant week. Flew in from Mendoza, I think that's where I left the last blog, and checked into an amazing hostel that I had actually just found myself, but then after I'd booked it, had been recommended to me by a guy that I met in Mendoza to validate what I was the place I'd booked. It was called Penthouse 1004, but basically it's on the top of this quite ugly like sort of building in the town, but just has the most insane views. Look, I took a video. This is me, just have a look at this. Tour part 1. This is the kitchen of my hostel, and this is the balcony. Someone else taking a snap as well. So basically, and that view you get from all through the kitchen and the living area, big like panoramic windows which are behind me. The toilet's not bad either.
Like sunrise ever. Like today I was just like eating breakfast on the balcony while everyone was just like
So that was yeah, that's a more enjoyable than normal way to use the loo. Fantastic hostel. The town itself is bit touristy, like it was there in winter. It's got a real sort of like, it has got a sort of an Alps kind of snowboarding, skiing vibe to it. First day I arrived early in the morning, so my flight from Mendoza had been it was only an hour and a half, had been super early. I met American girl called Dana, who had been in the southern part of Argentina already. We went out for lunch straight away because we decided we were going to go snowboarding the next day, and I had my first experience of like proper like Argentinian steak. Oh my god, so big, so delicious. It was.
Dana. ¿Tu nombre, señor?
Andy.
Andy. Bye.
Oh my god. Gracias. So I had to get that in there if I'm doing this chronologically, because that was one of the things I did straight away in Bariloche. Dan and I basically decided to go snowboarding the next day. Hadn't really looked at the weather, and basically I booked and paid for 2 days. That day was pretty crap weather, like most of the slopes were closed, but it was good to kind of get back on board. Go down some of the little practice slopes, but then it got super windy that night. But the good news is that what that meant is there was a huge dump of snow that evening. So the next morning, driving up to the piste again, it was like a completely different place. I took this video going past, like all of the snow you can see here, just on the trees, like a winter wonderland. It was literally nothing there the day before.
Go final because it was in Moscow.
Oh yeah.
And they can keep there and go to the final.
And when I got there, beautiful weather, just amazing clear skies, loads of fresh snow. So I just had a really brilliant day of snowboarding around. I've got loads of videos on the GoPro. I think I probably got one of going up on the lift at some point when it looked really gorgeous. Say something insightful.
No pressure.
It's mostly about the view, but...
Oh, look, it's so pretty.
Oh, yeah,
Has Sam been sending you summer photos?
And several of me scooting around most of the day. I spent the afternoon of that day with a couple Mike and Kylie, a couple that I'd met from in the hostel, and also a girl called Claire. Now, Claire's mates with Sam Raphael, who fans of the blog will remember from the early episodes. I was travelling with him and, for a bit less, his girlfriend Lindsay. He's Rich's cousin, a really good mate of mine. He's friends with Claire, and he basically hooked us up because she was in Bariloche together. So we spent a couple of hours kind of snowboarding around, and I'll come on to spent the next couple of days doing some hiking. But yeah, basically the snowboarding was fantastic as well. So check some of this out. Oh, now I've basically got the place to myself. Not bad. Okay, snowboarding tick. Brilliant, amazing day. Had a couple more days in Bariloche. I guess the point of my story here is that Dana, the American girl who I mentioned, had just come up from much further south in Patagonia, almost the southern of Argentina, a couple of places called El Chalten and El Calafate. I'd kind of decided I wasn't going to go down there. I'd heard it wasn't as good at this time of year, or certainly like some of the trekking was closed, but she just completely talked me around. She's like, you can't come this far and not go on. So I basically made the decision that I was going to be taking a 31 and a half hour bus journey from Bariloche down to El Calafate, but that gave me a couple more days to hang out in the back town of Bariloche. So met with Claire and we did a couple of days of just walking, like nothing too crazy, but did a couple of really nice hikes, like up a couple of hills. This is the view from the top on the first day. In that.
That was the shittest panorama ever.
Really beautiful views over the lake. The second day we went to do a similar kind of hike up one of the different hills. There was a cable car which leads up to this restaurant on the top of the hill, but it's all completely closed. Restaurant's closed, cable car's closed. We were told that there was a path you could walk up, and it was very steep. That was an under exaggeration. What's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, it was getting steeper and steeper through the snow. I took this video halfway up. It's pretty funny. Hi Claire.
Hi.
How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty tired.
Yeah.
Andy thinks we're going to fall down and die, but it's
well,
right.
This is where we are. Claire's just providing the tunes. We've walked up that, which is like a ridiculously steep mountain, and the only way down is back down the same way in the snow, but the view is amazing. We were kind of like just laughing a lot at that point because we didn't think getting down would have been like just genuinely like sliding down on our bums. I think it was steep. But that was good, and we made it all the way to the top. Loads of snow everywhere. Yeah, adventurous than we planned, but we've made it. Not sketchy at all. We did actually find a different way down, which kind of followed a bit of a road, so we didn't end up having to roll all the way back down the hill. But that was really cool, really fun walk. Great to meet Claire and have someone to hang out with for a few days. So yeah, Bariloche, beautiful town, gorgeous surroundings. I bet it would be amazing in summer as well, but feel really lucky that I was there during the snow. And then yeah, took the decision that I was going to go onwards on this huge bus journey to El Calafate. I think I'll just tick off the bus journey now. It was all right. I left at my hostel at it was before 6 a.m. in the morning, and I arrived into the town at I guess almost 2 p.m. the following afternoon. It was 3 separate buses, but all of them were just get off one and then change. There was no waiting around at bus stations. The journey was really cool though. I mean, Patagonia, although the bits that I've been to are kind of mountainous on the edge of the Andes, it's the whole of the area from Pacific to Atlantic. It's really flat actually, so it's just more of my love for deserts and big wide open spaces. Just a lot of the time, my seat for most of the journey was on the top deck at the front, so I just had the perfect view down the road. Various bits and pieces of footage. Have a look at some of this. I love it. It's really good. The next few days in Patagonia have been unreal. I flew up out of there yesterday, so that's definitely another blog in itself. One of the best. Yeah, I can't believe I nearly missed it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening about Bariloche. As always, yeah, hit me up if you want to chat. But I'll be back in England in it's pretty soon. 3.5 weeks. It's not long at all. Scary and weird. But yeah, loads of love and speak to you soon.